Hello and welcome to the Connecting Creatives podcast.
Hello everybody, welcome to Connecting Creatives. I am Jess.
And I'm George.
And today we're here with Hayley and Nicole. So Hayley and Nicole, you are both part of a theatre company in Liverpool, but I'm going to let you talk about that and introduce yourselves in a bit. But first of all, we're going to get to know you two. So Hayley, we'll start with you. If you were an animal, which animal would you be?
It's a brilliant question. Gosh, what would I be? I think maybe something like, maybe something like a bird. This is really probably not the moment to share this, but when I was younger, I used to think I could speak to birds. I was just a bit weird like that. But I just kind of, the freedom of it would be amazing.
Yeah, to be able to fly anywhere you want. As soon as you said that about speaking to birds, I started thinking about that woman from Home Alone. You are the bird woman from Home Alone.
Yes, I am. I mean, to be honest, right now in lockdown, I feel like I'm eating like a bird anyway. I live off like seeds.
I have conversations with the cat.
Yeah.
He's called Daniel.
Same thing.
I have, like full conversations with him.
Yeah.
So is that like?
It's more acceptable with a cat or a dog, though, isn't it? I mean,
It's not.
just
The
in
cat
the.
just walks away from me. It's quite upsetting.
That's funny.
So, Nicole, which
Yeah.
Friends character are you most like?
Ooh, which Friends character? Phoebe.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And then, like a sub question, which Friends character do you think people would most describe you as?
Phoebe.
Oh,
I think.
You know what? you all want to be.
I can't
run.
I like to make funny songs, mainly just for Hayley in work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to think I was a little bit mystical, and I think she's just got really kind of strange fashion sense. Yeah, I'd hope people would say I was a Phoebe. I don't cook often enough to be a Monica. Yeah, she's a really good cook. I can't concentrate, so yeah, let's go with Phoebe.
I love that. Oh, I love Phoebe. I wish I was a Phoebe.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are just Monica without the cooking.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
Monica
you've got to have
Jess.
skill. You've got to have
Yeah.
skill to be Monica.
I've got a ribbon drawer. Do you remember that episode?
Yeah. If we had enough more, yes, we would.
I would. Hayley, what one thing would you save from a burning building? And the burning building would be a house.
Your family are already out.
Yeah, your family and
Family
your
and
friends have
pets
got
are already out.
and your pets.
Okay. Is it awful that I was going, get the company accounts?
They're in my house.
Don't want to do that again. No. I've got so many books. How I get them all out, I don't know. But I absolutely adore my books. It'd kill me to leave them behind.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Especially like old books that you've had from being young. Well, I don't know, I'm saying this to you, George.
I don't read.
But like old books from when you're young, like I feel that.
Yeah. Oh, your Roald Dahl.
Yeah.
I have got my wares collection.
Oh, you wear
For some reason, right, when my mother years ago started this tradition that on my birthday she would buy me books like Where's Wally books.
Oh,
There's only so many Where's Wally books when you get to the age of 14, right? So then for the past 10 years, she's got more inventive. So for like 3 years, we had like Where's Chewbacca 1, 2, and 3. And then it got quite aggressive quite quickly. Finding Bin Laden. Where's Trump? There was another one, and then the best one was the one she got this year, and I think she's outdone herself. It's called Finding Jesus.
Wow, you've got quite a collection.
That's the only books I
To
own.
be fair, next year's version is going to be really easy to find, Wally, because it'll be the socially distanced version. He'll be the only one in the picture.
Oh my god, they should so do that. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
Haley, oh no, sorry, Nicole, we've just done here. What was the last piece of theatre you watched?
Oh, in the before days, before we were all locked down.
Before the
Actually, I watched National Theatre at Home.
Which one? Sorry?
Thing, and One Man, Two Governors,
All right.
the National Theatre's one on YouTube, and that was brilliant because I didn't see it the first time around with James Corden in it, I saw it with Rufus Hound in, and it was brilliant. And that was, I think that was one of the first shows I saw in London with my husband. So that was really nice to try and remember that. I'm trying to remember what I saw before. Oh, actually, I know what I saw before theatre shut down. I drove to Theatre Clwyd about the week before lockdown and saw Out of Joint new show. Oh no, I can't remember it. And it was about men in the Northeast who used to work in the mines, and it had the guy who used to be in Emmerdale in, and it was really, really good.
Oh, that's
Can't remember it. I'd love to be able to tell you. It was really good.
But that is good.
Oh, Glee Club. I remember it was called Glee Club. It was about a group of miners from the 60s who were in a glee club, and it was all about kind of toxic masculinity and how far we've moved on with masculinity and how far we haven't. Yeah, it was really beautiful.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
So proud I remembered that.
Hey, you're lucky as well if you saw it in the last week of lockdown. Like, that is...
Yeah, I was actually a little bit twitchy in the audience thinking, maybe don't get too close to anyone in this packed theatre. Yeah, it was very busy as well.
Oh, that's ace. We watched 12th Night for the National Theatre things. Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's really good, yeah.
I've not got too much into watching theatre on TV. I'm like, I'll have a little dip into it, but I feel it's going to be a bit upsetting. It's not the real thing.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just, theatre's all about being present and being there. I think that's that thing. How do I explain this? So watching it on TV is, I think TV is for TV. So TV acting is made and we watch it back every time and it's always the same. Whereas theatre acting is made to be there and to be different every time you go and see it, if that makes sense.
And I think with theatre, there is a genuine feeling.
Yes.
Like when the lights come down and everything, and all, just that warm up before there's even anyone on stage, there's a feeling. And there's the element of the people buzzing about, and it's that kind of thing that we do as technicians. We never use white light as side lighting. We always use orange lights. So when you're in auditoriums, you've always got orange lights. You never use white light, and it brings that mood, and there's just a feeling you get from that, which you can't recreate in your own home.
Yeah, I suppose it's like when you're in theatre, you feel like you're one. You feel like the audience and the theatre are one. But when you're watching that on a TV from like far away, you don't feel like you're in
the
that
sense
bubble.
of connection.
Yeah, no, you feel like you're watching a bubble. You don't feel like you're in that bubble.
Yeah, definitely.
Elbow me in the head.
Sorry, I got passionate. So this question is for both of you to answer. What are you excited for?
In life, in our theatre lives,
in any life you choose.
Post lockdown life. Just trying to. Sorry, I'm getting phone calls from friends just to check I'm all right. I'm still alive, and I was like, not now, guys, not now. What are we excited for?
Well, while she's thinking, I'll plug our next show. So we were really lucky to get funding on a show called Deep Blue that we've had in the making for about 1.5 years, and funnily enough, it's about social isolation and loneliness. And we were already making it. So we were like in the midst of developing that, and it was meant to be going on for a week run in Liverpool and then go up to Edinburgh Fringe, and all that was set, and now that's not happening. But as soon as we're out of lockdown and theatres reopen, that show is protected to be made. It's ready to kind of go and to bring the team together. So I'm just really looking forward to getting the team in an actual physical room all together, not even getting it on the stage, just to start the making process in person, because we've done quite a bit online, and it's that thing of connection. We just need them all together like a family. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh,
and I bet I've just stolen Hayley's. I bet that was Hayley's.
No,
really.
no, it's okay. I've got 2. Am I allowed 2?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a personal one and a theatre one. So talking of, yes, Deep Blue, obviously I'm mega excited for that. We had a design meeting yesterday, which made me super excited. But I'm also excited, we've got a play date on Tuesday, the 12th of May. And we were having a chat earlier this week about what exercises we're going to do, and I'm just really looking forward to it. And I can see all the emails coming in from people who want to join, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so nice to see our friends and do nice arty things together again. So I'm excited for that. But also, which is quite exciting, is my other best friend that isn't Nicole is due to have a baby, and she texts me. She's fine. She gets jealous easily. She's getting induced at the beginning of June. So that was a very lovely text message to get. Slash a little bit terrifying. She's dead excited. I'm absolutely terrified. I'm like, how can you even be excited about this? This is huge.
Yeah. Scary but exciting times. That's well cool. I love that. So you did both mention some things, some opportunities that creatives can get involved in. So we're going to talk about those a bit later. But now we're on to our little news section.
Is that your thing? Is that where I'm putting the theme? There's a theme tune for the news, as you will hear.
Have you got a jingle?
Well, you were meant to go pause, and then this is the news, not go.
Yeah, well, I was making it exciting.
Yeah, that works for me.
We'll all just do it.
Yeah,
it's a new thing.
There we go. It's a new jingle. We don't charge.
I'm going to layer it over that bit.
Yes. I have the best ideas. So...
The news.
So right now in the news, the only thing that's in the news really is COVID-19. The odd bit about Meghan Markle here and there, but COVID-19 is the main thing. So what I wanted to talk about was mental welfare at this stage, because when all this came about, I was shocked at the small amount of times government officials mentioned anything to do with mental welfare. Obviously, every single day we heard about, and we still do, and it's very important, but we hear about washing our hands, staying 2 meters apart, social distancing, which are all really important, of course. But I feel like up there with as much importance is what we have to do for our brains. And there hasn't been any guidelines about that. And not even a hint of, why didn't you try this? Why didn't you try that? From the people who are leading this whole thing, which just shocks me, like, majorly. So my question to you guys is, what are you doing to help yourself mentally, if you are doing anything? Yeah, that's my question.
I think there's a few different things, and I think some of them have come about just because I found a lot more time on my hands, and I'm thinking, why don't I usually do these type of things? But I've tried to take time out to like do some form of exercise a day. And I think if you know, going out for a walk, I walk the dog on the, you know, one allocated exercise a day, but actually coming in the house and just taking a little bit of time to do a little class online. And it's made me feel so much better. I don't think you realise that you need it, not even to be fit. It just makes you feel better, moving about, being a bit silly, having a dance. And I started doing Joe Wicks. And then I started noticing that actually people I know who I've worked with or I've taught and things like that are doing their own stuff. So I've been trying to support local and get fit. So there's a brilliant choreographer called Grace Golden, and she does midday moves. Do you do midday moves?
Yeah.
So midday moves on a Thursday, Get Sweaty with Grace. And then there's a lovely actor who's also a personal trainer called Josie Cedric Davis, who worked with us years ago, and I used to teach her in youth theatre, and she does like a daily HIIT class. So I've been like going along with them, and it's quite nice to go, well, actually, I'd rather, you know, be sharing your profile than someone who's already massive, and actually, yes, supporting local. So that's a little thing that, even though it's physical, it's been really good for kind of mental well-being as well. And I think the other thing is to just give ourselves a bit of a break. So like, I'm certainly someone who feels like I need to be writing applications and working and supporting other people and doing stuff all the time. Like Hayley will tell you, I message her at like 1 a.m. I've had an idea. And actually sometimes you just need to go, not today. Like, it's okay to just have a bad day. And you know, we're in these really unprecedented times. No one knows how to act because we haven't had to do this before. So actually just taking a moment to go, I'm going to do nothing this afternoon, I think is just as important. So yeah, moving more and then stopping more. I think my two things.
Combination.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
you said about just giving yourself the ability to just go, I'm not going to do anything today. And that's something that I definitely need to take on board. Like, I definitely need to tell that to myself, because I am someone who works myself into the ground, but I do that as a coping mechanism. And I don't realize that I'm doing that as a coping mechanism. And then I'll get really emotional because I can't deal with all the stress. And then I'll go, why am I so stressed? Why am I so... And I'll be like, of course I'm stressed, because I'm working myself. And then I get to that point and then I go, right, okay, I need to step back now and stop and not. But I feel like I need to get to a place where I can just get up and go, okay, I'm just not going to do anything today. Like,
we tried to have a film day last Saturday. And oh my God, it was a Saturday. We got one film in. She was like, do we have to watch any more films? It's a film day.
It's the name of the day.
I could just do this. You could, but we're not going to because it's a film day. I'm paying for Disney Plus for a reason.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? But it's hard to stop. And I think as freelancers and creatives and stuff like that, you're constantly doing a job while looking at the next one, whilst planning a future one and evaluating the last one. So you wear so many hats. If you ask people who work in theatre what you do, they often go, well, I'm kind of going to do a bit of, and everyone has 10 jobs because you're doing 10 things at the same time. So yeah, we're not used to stopping or being able to stop. I don't think so. It's important.
I'm definitely like you, Jess, and I did have a massive wobble this morning. And thankfully, I've got Nicole to ring me and go, I think you should not do any more work now. I think you should just go and have your dinner. and I'll talk to you later. And I am really lucky, actually, to have fantastic support around me, mostly poor Nicole, who listens to me crying on the phone. But as well, I mean, I think what we're talking about as well is about that feeling of being present, and I just don't think we do it. And there is this huge movement around mindfulness at the moment, and meditation, which is great, but it doesn't always have to be that. I mean, I absolutely love gardening. Like, I never knew this about myself until quite recently, but all of a sudden being somewhere else where actually I also do dance, and that's kind of the same. You spend a short amount of time thinking about that and nothing else. it does you the world of good. The only thing about the dances at the moment is that I really miss the chance to connect with people. Like, not being able to hold someone else's hand is a bit sad.
Yeah.
Whereas I can go and sit in my garden and look at my broccoli and be like, I grew that.
And you
And it
grow
gives me
broccoli?
such broccoli, cauliflower, strawberries. I've got, tomato plant, Nicole. I'll bring it down.
Fierce, love it.
I know. So I think that's great. Get into the gardening, guys.
Yeah. Your mum's really good at all that, isn't she? Like, there's skill.
No,
there's
could
a
I just
real
say,
skill to
right,
it.
this is the thing. I'm going to grass you up here now, mother. Right? Basically, yes, she's funding is what she is. Right? And last year, when we got the big success, we had loads of tomatoes. We had more tomatoes than we could actually ever eat in a year. Right? And we had loads of strawberries and everything. We were doing great. We had shit courgettes, but whatever. But everything else went fine. It was me and her partner Mike who did it all. Right? Stood there going, right,
But she
okay,
provided the space.
Yeah. So she goes on about, she told someone the week, she went, yeah, I grew some tomatoes. You could fuck off.
She's going to leave when she watches this back.
She's going to beat you. She normally does.
Right, so we'll now get into the main questions of our little podcast. So, how did you both get into theatre in the first place?
Do you want to go first, Nick?
Okay, I'll have to have a little think. How did I get into theatre? Well, if you go way, way, way back, it was school. Every school show, the choir, the orchestra, the woodwind group, the drama club, anything I could go to that was a little bit creative or I got to show off a little bit, it was that. And then that always kind of stuck, I think. As I grow up, it was, that's all I want to do. And then it was about finding out how to do it. So went to university in Liverpool, studied drama and theatre. Didn't want to study acting as much as I loved performing at the time. I think I always thought I was not going to be an actor, but I was going to work in theatre, but I just didn't know what yet. And then it kind of all started to make sense to me when I started working for the Everyman and Playhouse. So after university, after travelling out of the gap year, I came back and got a job. Actually got a job in Boots, but then got a job in the Everyman and Playhouse. And it was when I was working there for theatre and community, I started to understand how buildings work and how regional theatres work, and receiving houses and producing houses. And I think that's where the light started switching on. I started going, oh, I could do that, or I could do that, or I'm interested in this. So it was, I think, as much as it all starts in school or whatever, I think theatre world really started for me being able to work in a building.
Yeah.
And kind of seeing this is the theatre world.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Bailey?
That's amazing. That's the sort of thing me and Nicole don't ever talk about. Like, we're just like, oh, that's lovely. I love this question. I was thinking about it and I thought, how did I, because it was school, and mine actually started in primary school. So I got thrown out my school choir, guys, because I'm tone deaf. And that was my dream of being a Spice Girl over there forever. It was never going to happen. So obviously I had to join like another club, and it was either cross country or the drama club. And I was like, I ain't running around no fields in the freezing cold in a pair of shorts. So I joined the drama club, and then I discovered Julie Walters, and until I was about 23, just thought, I'm going to be Julie Walters. I just had my heart set on it. And it was because I found out she trained in the Everyman. And I'd never been the Everyman. I hadn't even drove past the Everyman, but the fact that it felt within reaching distance was good enough. I was like, I can do this. It's absolutely fine. I'm going to be Julie Walters. Went to university, went to John Moores University. And then I think, like Nicole, it wasn't until I got my job in the Everyman that I knew I was never going to be an actor. And I never even wanted to be an actor. That became even more clear at university, but didn't quite understand what I was looking for either. And then when I got my job at the Everyman, it all started to fall into place, and you start to get a sense of how, I knew I wanted to run a company, but you didn't know how that might be possible until you start seeing other people doing it, and you go, no, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting as well, because I know a lot of people who go to drama school or go to university, and they feel the pressure of having to come out and be like, and have to be an actor, and feel like they're only going to be successful because they've studied acting and they've got to be in jobs and they've got to act. But it's great that you two were both kind of like, I know that I want to be in theatre, I know I want to do something in that realm, but I just don't know what it is yet. And it's fine when you've graduated if you still don't know. I definitely feel like I'm in that position right now where I left drama school, and I know I want to act, but I also know that I want to do other bits. Like, I want to produce my own work, and I want to get experience directing as well. Of like, I'm kind of quite passionate about lots of areas, and right now I haven't focused my energies in just one, because I feel like I'd be missing out on different opportunities that may come around for me. That I might actually then go, okay, I want to focus my career this way now. And I feel like there is a pressure for actors to come out of drama school and just act and not make their own companies and stuff, which
I think it's really useful though if you can kind of draw on all those different skills, your organisation skills of running a company, your financial acumen, whatever, and you can draw all that together, because every actor is going to have downtime or resting time, and being able to facilitate is its own skill. A great actor doesn't necessarily make a great facilitator, so having these other skills that you can draw on is just going to make you, like, acting is your business. It's just going to make you a stronger businessman or businesswoman. And makes you more employable. I mean, something I'm quite passionate about is that the only work I do is in the arts sector. And that took a long time to be able to say that's all I do, especially when you're freelance and you have to take different jobs. But I only work in the arts because I'm able to go, well, actually, I'm a facilitator. I work with young people. I run community projects as well as make shows, run projects for our company and things like that. So, yeah, I think finding those other skills wherever they come from is really important.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I certainly don't feel like I've reached a point in my life where I go, I know now what I am, or I've had to give myself job titles, but that is constantly evolving and it's constantly changing, and you kind of have to give yourself a bit of permission to go, well, I'm gonna go on a bit of a discovery here, and I'm gonna find out what works for me. And sometimes you'll do a bit of that, and sometimes you'll do something else. And they're all related. They'll all come in useful at some point or another.
Yeah. It's really quite reassuring to know that, actually, because I was definitely I was in a Zoom call the other day with this producer called Reese, actually, and he was really nice. And I said to him towards the end of the conversation, I was just like, I was like, I know this is a bit of a weird question, but can I be a producer and can I also act as well? And he was like, of course you can. He was like, he was almost like, that's such a weird question. Why would you ever not be able to do that? And I think I was like just under an impression that if I went down the route of producing my own work, then that's it. And I think it's important for people to know that it's totally not.
It is, and I'm one of those people as well. Like, I had those early, when I registered as freelance when I was 16. I've been in the doing tech stuff since I was 14. So as soon as I was allowed to register as self-employed, I was like, fucking having it. And you learn so much so quickly. But one of the things I thought is that if I'm self-employed, I won't be able to work somewhere that's going to, like, PAYE. I won't be able to do that. Like, that's not allowed. You are one or the other. Which, if you talk to the government, then most of the time they go, yes, you are one or the other, yet you're not. you know, you can go and do, and that was my big question. No one ever told me, yes, you can go work in the theatre for 6 months and be paid by them for 6 months and not have to invoice them and spend the rest of the 6 months of the year doing no one told me that. And so I turned down so much work in my first few years because I didn't think I could. But I think you do think sometimes I can only do my bit. This is what I do is I can do it.
Yeah. I think a lot of the time it does come to that, doesn't it? It's like you do go to university and no one really tells you how to function as a freelancer or to run company, you know, and it must be even harder actually to be self-employed, and you kind of look to your colleagues for that kind of guidance, don't you? You need someone to kind of go, oh no, yeah, you can do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about Paperwork Theatre. So you are a professional theatre company based in Liverpool, and you produce plays around the north of England. So my question is, can you tell us a bit about your company and the aims for your company?
We'd love to. So we're a CIC, so a community interest company, and we work across 3 strands of our work. So we make theatre. Our theatre takes place in theatre spaces and unusual or non-traditional spaces. So we're working on Deep Blue, which is a studio show at the moment, and we've got a street theatre show called Typhoon and the Pedal Players, which we've been touring for about 3 years every summer, that goes to festivals. We've done shows that tour library spaces for children and like interactive shows. We've had a show that took place in red telephone boxes, outdoor promenade performances. So yeah, our work kind of takes place in different spaces based on the need of the story. I think the story comes first, and then we go, where does that story belong? So that's our theatre strand. We have a community strand of our work. So every show that we do, we try and attach a participation project to it, as an opportunity for audiences to become active participants. Oh, sure, I'm flying around, my camera's flying. So it's kind of audiences to become active participants. So like with Deep Blue, because it's about loneliness and social isolation, we're going to run a 20-week drama project for women in Liverpool who may have suffered or are at risk of loneliness, and it's a way to bring people together to form a community, to offer them a skill or to develop skills in performing arts, and they'll get masterclasses from Northwest artists, and then at the end of that project will make their own piece of work that will stage in Liverpool. And then the hope from that is that they will then become part of our creative community, because they'll have those skills to kind of go on and join other groups in the city, and hopefully it's something we can run a bit longer. And then we've got the third strand of our work, which is artist opportunities. So I suppose it kind of links to what you were saying before about wanting to be able to work in different aspects of theatre and have the skill to be able to do that and the confidence to be able to do that. So we just noticed that for all kind of training opportunities or development opportunities once you left university, it meant going to Manchester or London. And we were a bit like, well, why can't we do that here? And as much as there are some great things happening, unless you were part of a particular scheme, you couldn't get in. So we started running artist opportunities, and we do play dates, which are monthly skills workshops, and we've recently been running some masterclasses with some support from Young Vic to do those. We run our Teacup Commissions, which is £100 micro fund to support a boss new idea. That is voted for by the public because they're running online at the moment. And then we also have script surgeries, which the lovely Hayley runs in association with the Eggman and Playhouse New Works department. And the idea with those is that they are always free. Everything we do is free, and it's to break down barriers that people face when accessing development, accessing the arts. We figure if we can fund that somewhere else, we can make sure that everyone in our community can kind of take part in it. So yeah, Hayley, is there anything left to say? Did I cover it all?
No, that was fantastic. Well done, because I actually have to get our website up to remember the stuff that we do. But I just think that a lot of the things that we talk about bringing people together a lot, and that sort of access to the art as being important for our mental well-being. And also breaking down barriers. We talk about that a lot. You know, and that also is why a lot of the time our work happens in unusual spaces and places. It's about inviting people to access theatre who might not usually or might not actually see it as a piece of theatre. You know, that's the great thing about Typhoon as it cycles around whatever festival we're at. I don't know whether people do always go, oh, look at that wonderful piece of theatre. They just go, oh my gosh, look at that thing. And that's quite nice, you know. You don't have to have a particular type of education or be from a particular background to access our work.
Amazing. It sounds like really interesting and quite different as well, something especially in Liverpool that right now there isn't anything of apart from your company, which is amazing. The work that you have done in the past, you have spoken about a few things. Can you tell us more about specific shows that you have produced and what they were about, or maybe like the most recent one or whatever?
Yeah, because there's quite a back catalogue now, isn't there, Nick?
We could list.
What was that, George?
Do you do like a particular sort of theatre, or is it just like whatever tickles your fancy? You like that script, let's put that on.
What usually happens is one of us has an idea, gets the other excited, and we go, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so all of our work is, I think, to date, original. So we don't use kind of classic text or existing work, and it's either devised or new writing. And yeah, usually it comes from a conversation about something that's excited us, or something that's going on in the world at the moment, or a story that we've always wanted to tell. So yeah, quite a few of them come from Hayley's head, actually. Stories that she's on to tell. Hayley, you tell them about.
I know it's a funny one, isn't it? Because when you look at our shows over the years, they've all had very different influences. I mean, our children's show, which toured North West Libraries in 2018. I mean, it actually started as a pop-up piece in a shopping centre in Liverpool. That was called Ice Fire Yeti, and that was influenced by my childhood experience of my brother being born. And it was like a couple of days before my birthday, and it was cold outside and it was winter, and my mum just disappeared in my granddad's car, and I had to pack a bag, and I fell asleep that night in my nana's bed, and I couldn't sleep because I was convinced there was a Yeti behind the wardrobe. And actually about 20 years later discovered, my nan went, oh, I think that was the ironing board, Hayley. I was like, oh right, that makes sense. So I think with a lot of writers and theatre makers, you do draw on personal experience. Yeah. But then I absolutely adore sort of adapting history, and working on the Pedal Players show has been joyous. We often get commissioned by Heritage Lottery funded organisations to do specific stories about heritage, which is great. But something like Deep Blue, it came from a mixture of my friend telling me a true story about the world's loneliest whale, and at the same time seeing on the news that about the rising number of lonely children. And although we've moved away from this idea now of loneliness in young people, because the loneliness conversation has changed dramatically in a short space of time, those two things sort of collided in my head, and I was like, I feel like this is a story that we desperately need to talk about. And as a company who have that sort of need to make work that connects people, I felt that was a paperwork show that needed to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds amazing. Like, I really want. Do you know Nick? I've forgotten his second name now, but he's amazing.
Crosby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
do. Shout out to Nick Crosby.
Yeah.
And it's his birthday today.
It is. Happy birthday, Nick.
Oh, where's that? Yeah, I
Listening to some
actually,
sound.
wow, like, I think he's amazing. I worked with him on Sinbad with Off the Ground Theatre Company.
We know all the same people.
Yeah.
Oh, this is lovely.
Yeah, so I did the Off the Ground thing with the summer tour like 2 years ago. And it was the Sinbad cast, and it was amazing. And Ellie Hurt directed it. It was like one of the best.
Yes,
We know Ellie.
And yeah, I met Nick doing that, and then I remember him ages ago mentioning the play dates thing, and I was like, now I'm speaking to you now, that literally just came back into my head, and I was like, it's you guys.
Yeah, it does.
That is just mental.
It's funny though, because I think, so like, it kind of struck me because I work, so the same people that will know, Tomo, who works for the Everyman and Playhouse. So I work for the Everyman and Playhouse as well with the young actors. And I think something that always struck me there is like, young actors come in every week and have a youth theatre session, and you get 2 hours of getting to just make something and explore a new topic, or, really throw yourself out there and do some improvisation or learn a skill maybe that you hadn't done before. And I was like, and then you emerge as an actor or performer, as a theatre maker, and you never get the chance to play again unless it's in the confines of a show, just to do a workshop, just to come in and try out some new skills or network that, without having to like go around a bar with a glass and do that really kind of cringy networking thing. So we wanted to do play dates just to give people a space to do that, and to get to know some more people who are on the same scene as you in the Northwest. And everyone knows each other actually, so being able to have met someone in that kind of low pressure environment, if you then come into an audition with them or you're in a show with them, it just takes away that pressure down the line. And it's a great place, I think, for people to just to take the pressure off and try something a little bit new.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds fab, and it's making me want to go and do one. Which I definitely will. Do you want to ask your?
Yes. So we've mentioned you've got a project in the pipeline, for the minute this all ends.
One day.
One day when we're allowed to leave. But what else can we expect from Paperwork Theatre after the pandemic?
There's a show that we want to make.
Yeah.
Should we talk about that?
Yeah.
So in February, we got a little commission from City Region Libraries, or Liverpool City Region Libraries, to make something along the theme of love, sex and romance for a Valentine's Day event as part of the BBC's Novels That Shape the World, which is like a year-long event. So they asked us to make something, and they were like, could you make something about one of these 8 novels? And I said no, because we had about 2 weeks. But I can make you something about this very strange book from the 1930s. And it was a book that Hayley had come across, almost like a pamphlet. In fact, I think her mum bought it to wind her up. And it's called The Art of Kissing. And it's this very creepy guide for men in the 30s of how to get a girl. And it literally is a step-by-step guide of how you judge the shape of their lips, and how you hold their hair so they can't get away, and how you set them on the sofa next to the arm of the sofa so they can't get away. And when you lean in, if they scream, you just carry on. And we were like, oh my God. Like, what is this book about? And then we were like, that's really funny, now because obviously that would never happen. So we brought together the wonderful Nick Crosby, another actor called James Bibby, and an actor called Laura Connolly, and we brought them together, and we literally had about 4 or 5 rehearsals to devise a show based on the art of kissing, and we came up with this lovely clown piece about Cupid and the art of kissing. This kind of guide for love. And so we perform this show on Valentine's Day, and Cupid is in the library, and if you're there watching it, you're obviously single and he hasn't done his job well enough. So he's here to show you how to fall in love, and he's using this really outdated guide. And then we would cut to these little vignettes. We got people to send us the stories of the best and worst kiss they'd ever had, and we used them verbatim in the show. And it became like this guide to love. And actually, all of the stuff in the book doesn't matter. All that matters is that if you're lucky enough to find the person, keep hold of them and don't let them go. And that kind of sparked a bit of an idea. I was like, oh, I really like getting to know Cupid. I wonder what the Grim Reaper's like, and I wonder what the Stork's like. So I kind of want to make a show based on that horrible phrase that people buy and put on their living room walls: live, love, laugh. So what does that mean? So I want to make a show about rites of passage from the point of view of the cultural guardians. So I want to look at birth and women having children or deciding not to have children from the perspective of the Stork, who is a power woman. She's a powerful businesswoman who runs a baby delivery service, but she might not choose to have children herself. And I'm interested in the Grim Reaper and why we don't talk about death when he's the only guy that we're all definitely going to meet. So yeah, that's something that's kind of in our heads that we'd like to make.
What's really exciting is so we've spent sort of the last year or so really doing a lot of organisational development and sort of rethinking about the way that we operate and the work that we make, which is probably why you've seen a lot more of our artist opportunities online recently. So we're starting to work with lots of different artists in different ways. So that's one of the shows that we want to make, but we're also speaking to a couple of writers that whose work we really enjoy, about making work with them as well. So we have got quite a few projects that are in the pipeline and ready for the world whenever it decides to come back.
Yeah. Wow. Those stories sound ace. I can't believe that pamphlet that you have.
I know.
That is
just to clarify, my mum didn't know what it was about. She bought it because she thought it was hilarious that I had to do a stage kiss, and I was just dead set against doing this stage kiss. I was like, just because I just don't like kissing in public, full stop, never mind.
This is about 12 years ago.
Yeah. And she thought it was hilarious, and then I read it and she was like, oh dear.
It's so weird. Imagine if lads actually read that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That is just.
It is unbelievable.
See,
I'm going to send you a copy.
Yeah, it does show the society, because back then the lads would have actually read it. Right now they just wouldn't. They just wouldn't read it.
Unless some weird, creepy guy.
Yeah, but if you get to the point in this day and age where you're reading a book.
Yeah, they're just reading it off the internet now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting just to show how much we've moved on as a society. I mean, this was like you couldn't kiss in the street, but you should get her inside the house, and it was like, oh, it was so backwards. And actually, that there's a line in there that really made me angry, and it was like, a kiss should only be shared between a man and a woman who are in love. And I was like, well, hold on a minute. So we thought we'd blow that out of the water. So yeah, I mean, something like that, it just made us a little bit angry. It made us laugh. It was like, actually, this could open a lot of conversations for a show.
Definitely. And like that sparks that passion behind it, like what you were saying, you getting angry about it, and I love that. So you've mentioned you've mentioned the opportunities that you offer for creatives. You spoke about play dates. But could you tell us a bit more about script surgery and teacup commissions and what they're
Sure.
about?
Yeah, shall I start with script surgeries?
Yeah.
Yes.
I am also a dramaturg. So I've been working for, oh gosh, how long? About 8 years, working with playwrights, mostly playwrights, some theatre makers, to develop new work for the stage. And I love it. And really wanted to, like, when I left my job at the Everyman, I really missed not doing that anymore. And I kind of saw that there was quite a need for writers and theatre makers to have that outside voice and eye who could kind of make. For me, dramaturgy is all about being the person who can facilitate the piece reaching its full potential. And obviously lots of people are involved in those dramaturgical decisions at various stages, whether it's a director or a designer, a literary manager, but sort of working with emerging writers to develop new work. And those writers tend to be Liverpool or Northwest based. And we've got a really lovely relationship with the Everyman and Playhouse Theatres. And Francesca, who works in the New Works department, is also an incredible dramaturg. And so we decided to team up to deliver script surgeries. And it's a chance for playwrights and theatre makers to book a 30-minute one-to-one meeting at the moment via Zoom, but normally in person at the Everyman. That person would send us a 15-page extract of their script, which we would read, and we'd have a chat. We tend to ask as well before the meeting, you know, what do you want to talk about? Because for me, dramaturgy is it's not about sitting there telling the writer what they could be doing better, but about saying to the writer, what do you want this piece to become? Yeah. And so whether they want to talk about a character, you know, and whether they feel rounded and believable, or whether they want to talk about the structure of the piece, just having that question early on means we can really steer the conversation in a direction that allows the writer to go away and redraft in a way that is most useful to them.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds great. Like really helpful as well. I'm in the process of producing like my first piece of work, and having that service, I know would, especially at the start, if I was a new writer and wanted to put on my own work, having that sense of what do you want the play to be, what do you want the play to achieve, is two questions that I think are so important. And I was at the risk of overlooking before I got some advice, because I think when this play that I am producing at the minute, my energy and my focus was a bit all over the place, and it was a bit like, and I think that was quite natural, and I was kind of like, oh well, we could do it here and here and here, and the target audience can be everybody. And I think I was a bit naive to how I should aim my focus and what's the best way of making this play achieve what I want it to. And I really needed to ask myself those questions. So that
it's really easy to, when you're working on a project, to be absorbed in it. And I think, you know, there are tons of dramaturgs working in the north, which is a shame, but they're such a vital creative to have in a room, because they are that person who can slightly distance themselves from all the other conversations that are going on in the room, and actually kind of be the person who goes, I'm going to imagine being the audience for a moment. How is all of this making me feel, and what am I thinking? And that's why it's so brilliant. I mean, we're working with an amazing dramaturg on Deep Blue, Sam O'Rourke, who's also a fantastic playwright. and she has been so invaluable to my thought process. I couldn't do it without her, really.
Yeah. And sometimes you do need that extra person to just guide you and to, because when it's your own thing, you can get wrapped up in it without, like you say, stepping back and seeing it from a different perspective. So
I think also there's the loneliness of writing as well, or the loneliness of making something. You know, it's you and the page on your own, and actually just having another voice to talk to, or just to bounce some ideas off, is really important. I think with all the artist opportunities we try and do, it's kind of come from that place of, we know what it's like to be on your own, making something, just going nuts with it, and actually by, you know, speaking to somebody else, it just makes it a lot easier.
Definitely. So what about Teacup commissions? We're obviously up on it. We know about it.
We're done with
it. You wear one of our top 3. We absolutely loved your proposal, and it's gonna happen still. It's gonna happen, right? Yes. So Teacup commissions came about kind of out all of our things. So I went, Hayley, I've had this idea. What do you think? And then we had a little chat about it, and we were like, yeah, that could happen. So basically we were like, what was really useful to us when we were starting out? And sometimes it's just a little bit of faith in your project, so you can give it a go, and just a little bit of support. It doesn't have to be a fully funded arts council project just to get something going. But having a little bit of support and time from somebody else, and, you know, a little bit of cash can just help that idea grow from a seed into something a bit more viable. So wouldn't it be nice if, because we don't charge for our artist opportunities, we just run them because we think they're good, and people should have access to things like that. So what we say to people is, if you come onto a workshop or a script surgery, or you see our stuff online and would like to, can you donate the price of a cuppa to our Teacup Commission fund? So couple of quid if you've got it, and if you don't, hit us up next time. And every time that cup reaches £100, we will give it to a theatre maker with a boss new idea. So this originally started out in the before days of COVID-19, and that when the cup reached £100, we would open to commissions. We would pick, I think we did 10 actually. And then we invited all those people and anyone else who wanted to come to like an open pitch play date, and everybody got 4 minutes to stand up and pitch their project in whatever way they wanted. And at the end of the night, everyone voted, and the winner took the cash, no strings attached to put towards their project. And what became really apparent really quickly is, one, how generous people are, and people who were coming to pitch were also adding to the cup for the next round, even though they might not win it. And also the people who came, and the voting was anonymous, but I will let you know that the people who came didn't necessarily vote for their own project. They came along, pitched, and then voted for somebody else. And I was like, that is what we're looking for. It's a creative community that goes, if not me this time, it will be me next time. How can I help you? And all those people who came and pitched then automatically had this audience base for when they do make the show, because you've got a room full of people who are interested in what you're doing. So at the moment, we are running Teacup commissions online. We've done 2 online rounds just from people's generosity, and going online and donating on our little PayPal page. And then we open for pitches. We, just to cut down the time it takes for people to apply, we said, send us a 1-minute video pitch of you talking about your project in any way you want. And then we pick top 3, so me, myself and Hayley and our other company director Shifra, we pick our top 3, and then the top 3 go through. They go on our website for something like 48 hours, and then the one with the most votes wins the money. So we've just awarded our 3rd one to Grace Golding for One Big Dance, which is a big community dance project that she's going to do. And the last one went to Jonathan and Dora, who are a couple of kind of actor musicians who have decided to self-isolate together, and they're going to make an album and a show based on their experiences in isolation. So they wrote us a song to say thank you, which was really beautiful. But yeah, it's something that we always want to run, and when the cup is full, it's full, and when it's not, we'll just keep throwing it out there until it is. Yeah, it just feels like a nice way to bring us together and for everyone to shout about what they're up to at the moment as well.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, it's such an amazing initiative, and I bet it's great knowing that you're helping people to just start that idea and giving them that just £100 to allow that idea to become something real and become bigger or whatever. Is just, it must be like so hard.
It is amazing, but also you get excited by the idea yourself. I mean, our very first Teacup Commission winner was an incredible Liverpool-based playwright called Ginny Manning, who is collaborating with another brilliant Liverpool-based choreographer to make a new show, a dance-based show called How to Survive a Broken Heart. And the pitch was incredibly moving.
Everyone was crying.
Everyone was crying. And then at the end, I went over and was like, I'll dramaturg the show for free. I just want to be involved. I just want to do it with you. And so actually, it's really quite exciting for us that, you know, you never know that a collaboration might just naturally come onto some of this stuff as well. And if we've got things we can offer, even if it's just going, do you want to lend our PA kit for that? You know, we can do that. We can support artists in many ways.
Oh, that is so fab.
That's great. So, what has been one of your favourite memories from Paperwork Theatre?
Nicole, do you remember we were in the pub with some? No. We were in the pub with.
It's not a work thing, being in the pub.
No, well, it was post work. We'd been teaching playwright program at the Everyman and Playhouse, which was lovely. We'd done a celebratory theatre session. We all went. A few of us went to the pub afterwards just to kind of have a chat about it. And someone asked us this question. And no one's asked it before. It's such a lovely question. Excited. I got really excited because I was like, oh, there's so many answers. my answer on that occasion was our first incarnation of Typhoon and the Pedal Players. We were commissioned by the fantastic Open Culture we were one of their commissions for Liverpool Light Night 2017, and the theme was time. So cycling a time machine around Liverpool city centre was very apt. And there was a moment, it's a very interactive show, there was a moment when we were pedalling through part of Liverpool 1, singing Elton John's Rocket Man, because, you know, it's a time machine. And one of the actors just spontaneously went, if I say rocket, you say man, to the audience. So we're pedaling through Liverpool 1 going, rocket man, and I was like, I love my job so much right now.
It's like 100 people in a conga line with a couple of cars going, rocket man. No, it was quite fun.
It's just incredible.
What's my favourite? So there is an interactive family Christmas event that we do, and we've done it for the past 3 years, and it's called the Elfie Selfie Station. So we know some elves in the North Pole, and they come to St John's Shopping Centre and run this interactive elf event, which is these giant photo frames, and you come and get dressed up, jump in the photo frame and take Elfie selfies, and then make stuff in the workshop. You get a certificate to say that you're on the nice list, and you pin your house on the map so Father Christmas knows where to find you. And one of our elves this year started a mass sing-along of the 12 days of Christmas, and just everyone joined in, and he went all the way through, didn't stop at like day 6, went all the way through all the 12 days with all of the verses, and everyone is in the Elfie Selfie Station just singing along. And it's that type of thing. You couldn't plan that just comes from working with really great creative inventive people who totally believe in what they're doing, and just wanting to bring a little bit of joy. It wasn't, you know, a highbrow production. It wasn't an audience sitting quietly in the theatre behaving. It was people throwing snowballs indoors, singing the 12 Days of Christmas with as many children as they could find. And I just thought, that's really cool. That's kind of what art can be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're the moments that stick out.
That reminds of a mutual friend of ours, Patrick. It sounds like something he'd do. He's a comic in Panto, the company where past 2 Pantos have done. He's the comic, and I'm vaguely. I think he's vaguely aware there's a script.
Best description ever. I want to employ him. Let's
He's never actually read it is a different question, because I don't think I've ever had a cue line off him ever. And he just does whatever he wants. And we did last year, not the Christmas gone, the Christmas before. We took Dick Whittington out on the road, and we're in Sheffield, and it's one of those venues that, you know, when you can just have fun, because they're like, as long as you start at 6:30 and you give us a 30-minute interval, do whatever you like. So we do. And it always works out that it's in the middle of the tour. So it's that chance that when everyone's started to get edgy, because you've been on the road for 3 weeks with people in a small van, it's a chance just for you to have fun and get rid of it. So we've been winding Xander up, the Dane was, because he hates the song Baby Shark. He hates it. And they have the whole ghost gag, that it's behind you gag, and they're meant to go, shall we sing a song? And then Patrick always went, I know, Baby Shark, and sung the first verse of Baby Shark. But this particular day, we'd plotted, and I was always out, having the technician was part of the show, it was interactive. And he was like, George, cue the music. And I played Baby Shark. Now, the agreement we had was that we'd play the first verse. All right? So he's looking at me then, come the third verse of Baby Shark, running around. He's up to Grandpa Sharp, about to pass out. And I'm just like, nope, I'm playing the whole thing. This is staying. So we went through all 5 verses of Baby Shark. And like, he's then trying to do the next bit of the scene. You can see he's ready to pass out, because he started the first verse so upbeat that he went, I actually have to be this upbeat now. We only had about an hour and a half drive back home that night, and he slept the whole way. He was like, mate, I've never been so tired after a show.
Oh, mate. But they're things that stick with you, aren't they? Not when everything goes right, not when everything goes to plan, when you find the little nuggets of something special.
Yeah, definitely. When it all goes wrong,
it's some, especially from Panto, there are some horrific going wrong stories, but they're the only times I remember. I don't think I actually remember a perfect show. We did have them, I just they're not worth
Panto doesn't always work perfectly though, does it? And that's when it's, if it is, you're like,
yeah, it's not funny when everything's right.
Yeah.
I did that. I did like 6 weeks of like a show a few years ago, like a ballet, and it was great, don't get me wrong. By the end of it, I was like, someone just fall over. Just please, just someone just break an ankle or something.
Some real drama.
Yeah, nothing. It's just like, it was fun. It was fantastic. They were amazing. They were so good, and it was the opportunity. But it's like when you've done it for so long and they're perfect every time, just like there's one of them. Even if there's like an inch out of place, I'll know and I'll be excited.
It's like when we were talking about the liveliness of theatre before, like earlier on, we were saying like the only thing you kind of get in a room is not the same over National Theatre Live.
Yeah, exactly. So this is like my number one question, which I really like to ask people, because I really like to get advice from different creatives. But what would be your main piece of advice for? Sorry, my phone keeps going off. Throw it over there. What is your main piece of advice for actors or creatives who may be watching now, who want to create their own work but don't know where to start?
Just do it. I think the best advice we got, and I think that was why we made the company, was when each of us knew we wanted to do something. I knew I wanted to direct. Hayley at the time really wanted to write, and we knew we wanted to do it, but we just didn't know how to start. So we literally just got in a room together and like, well, let's go. And I think the first thing we ever did was we did like a scratch night of just loads of pieces of new writing, of Hayley's and Bryony's, and we just put them on, and then loads of people came, And it was great, and everyone paid their ticket price, and we gave that to all the performers, and we were like, oh, we've made a show. And I think it was the best thing, because until you start making, you won't know what you want to make and how you want to make it. And there were shows that we loved that we did years ago, but that's not what we're going to do again. You know, the more you make, the more you shape who you want to be and the type of theatre maker that you are. And I think, the best advice we ever got was just get on with it, and then you'll figure out the rest later. You'll figure out how to be good and how to be successful and meet the right people and go the right places, and how to fund it and be a business or whatever. But I think when it comes to making, that's just something that you have to do, and make something that excites you as well. If it doesn't excite you, it's not going to excite anybody else.
And just to piggyback on the back of that, I think the most important thing you can do is read as much as you can, watch as much as you can, and talk to other people about it. And you'll start to really understand what excites you as a theatre maker and what you don't want to make. And you'll get to see what trends emerge in theatre, and you'll start to, and as well, you know, connect with those people around you. Obviously, you're doing a great job of that. Because you'll learn from your peers, you know, and it's so important that we do bring our creative communities together to be able to facilitate that learning, and also because without each other we just won't have the vibrant art scene that we all dream of being a part of. We won't have this fantastic audience base that has access to lots of different types of art forms, you know, and so work closely with your peers.
Yeah, I think it's that thing as well. If you wait for a door to open to let you in, you might be waiting a long time to start making, and then you'll learn where the doors are. I think it took me a long time to figure out that I was allowed to do this. I was like, oh, but I can't run a theatre company. I can't direct shows. That's not for people like me. Actually, you can. I think when you stop apologising for who you are, then you're able to celebrate who you are and use it a little bit more. So just do it. That's the thing.
So we're up to
it's the big question.
The big question. Do you ask it?
No, I can't say two of the words in it.
Okay, I'll ask it.
I can't. You went away for words.
Hold on, am I going to understand this question? It's like complicated words.
No, I just can't say it. And when I was working in a theatre. I was working full time as a technical manager in a theatre at the time, and Jessica was on tour, so I was like, I'll do the podcast while you're away. And I had two in the same day, and in both recordings, there's me going trying to say the word and just certain words.
Right. I'll say the question so you know.
Right, tell you what, I'll tap on your shoulder when it's time for that word, and then I'll mime it so like it's meant to be there.
That's brilliant. Do that.
Yeah. It's that one.
Right.
Yeah. So, what are your opinions on
inclusivity
and diversity in the industry, and what can we do to make it better?
That was beautifully performed, guys. Like proper theatrical experience. I enjoyed that.
So, just to kind of that question is a very big question. Like we know that's a massive question, and we could do a full podcast on that question alone. But what we're about is making theatre for everyone and allowing everyone to be part of it as well. That's something that we're really passionate about. And sometimes I think the industry as in general can be quite segregating to obviously diverse and underrepresented groups, but I sometimes feel segregated as a white young female. And my question is what are the ways that we can make theatre really inclusive and diverse, and is there anything that we can do to improve upon that, if that makes sense?
I think as somebody who runs a company, something that we try and be good at is stuff that we've struggled with in the past when we've tried to access opportunities, and that's kind of like trying to demystify the industry and going, well, this is just how it works, this is just how it's done, this is what a dramaturg is, this is, you know, how you would behave in a rehearsal room, this is what a rehearsal room looks like. And we try and just make things as simple as possible. So like running artist opportunities is a way for people who might not have any experience or necessarily come from a theatre background to access a little taster of what it's like to make theatre. And then I think with all our opportunities, we try and make our work paid. So, you know, there's a big thing in theatre, like, oh, if you want to assist or if you want to do this or that, you know, you can volunteer. And I just don't think it stands up now. I think if we want to ask people to do things and this is their craft and this is their job, then they must be paid for it. So, you know, we make work where people are paid and valued for their time, and that means that people have got more of a fair crack of the whip being able to go for that job. Yeah. It's easy to say I've assisted on 10 shows when I've been able to support myself in other means, but if you haven't got that, then you know you need that type of support. So yeah, I think we try and be open and transparent in what we make, and then value the people who work for us. And I suppose that's what we do on a small scale as a small company, to try and contribute to that. And I suppose also it's about looking at the bigger picture and thinking how people access community work or audiences access, because if you don't see people like you on the stage or in those jobs, then you're never going to think that you can do them. So I think it's about making our work accessible for communities, whether that's having free tickets or performing in spaces that belong to communities or with communities, or making work with communities, because then they can see themselves in the work, and then that comes full circle down the line, and they get to be part of the industry, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, I was telling you before about a fantastic training day I had yesterday. We talked a lot about excellence in participatory theatre and what that is. And, you know, I think a lot about, you know, that word theatre can sometimes be a barrier, you know, sometimes. And by doing things like the Elfie Selfie Station, we're not necessarily calling it a piece of theatre, we're calling it a theatrical experience. We're helping to remove that barrier for audiences who might not normally engage in art in that way. But also, you know, a lot of our work it's joyful, it's adventurous, it's got humanity right at its core. And I think if you're led by some of those things rather than trying to make excellent, you know, highbrow work, then you appeal to a wider audience.
Yeah, I totally get that.
And I think that word theatre, like theatre is sit and watch. And I think you're right, that puts a lot of people off, especially people with younger children, because they go, I'm going to get a child to sit and watch. And then I like that idea of the theatrical participation, that word that I can't say, another one I can't do.
And I think that's the thing, you know, you can be both, because I think sometimes the theatre building can be a scary word, whereas actually, I love theatre and I want everyone to come in the doors of every theatre. I go in a theatre and feel like it's my own home. And I wonder why you know, sometimes people don't get that, and so I want to be part of that conversation as well, of going, well, how can we make you feel comfortable in these buildings? How can they feel like everybody is? And so it's being part of those conversations and making sure actually that we're putting our work on in those buildings and out of them to kind of cross the bridge, I think, for people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just want to thank you both for being on. How long have we been recording for?
Days. I don't know.
not been a single glass of wine in sight.
It's been a while and it's not cut us off, so I'm surprised.
I don't know how that has happened, but yeah.
I think it's because we're recording.
Yeah, maybe. Well,
just gonna start recording everything I do on here in the future. So
I think it's because someone told me the other day that if you're having a Zoom conversation with just 3 people and no more, it sort of lets you go over the limit.
Yeah, well, sometimes it does, and we've had the things pop up, but that's a
story
for another day.
Yeah. Thank you both so much for speaking to us today. I really, really appreciate it. And
Thanks
it
very
was
much.
so lovely to speak to you and hear your advice and hear about you. So thank you.
No, it's really lovely to meet you guys and chat to you.
We hope to meet you in real life when this is over.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Come to a play date. Come to a play date and have a glass of wine with us afterwards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Connecting Creatives podcast.
If you'd like to know any more about the project, please email us at connectingcreatives@outlook.com
You can follow us on Twitter. Our handle is create_connect.
and Facebook. Our page is Connecting Creatives.
We also have our Backstage Bits vlogs where you can go behind the curtain of different productions to see some of the rehearsal footage.
As well as backstage features including props, costumes, venues, and an interview with the creative team.
To see these, please search Connecting Creatives on YouTube, which will take you to our channel.
Please follow us on all social media to keep up to date with our content.
If you or your production would like to feature on the podcast or even one of our Backstage Bits vlogs, or you have any other inquiries, please email us at connectingcreatives@outlook.com. Thank you for listening.